Welcome to this explainer. If you think the massive challenges we're facing with artificial intelligence today are totally unprecedented, well, you're actually in for a fascinating surprise. We're going to dive back into the chaotic digital wasteland of 1994 to see how the foundation of the internet was built, not by massive corporate monopolies, but by independent minds working out of unventilated trailers and living rooms. And we'll see how their legacy is literally writing the blueprint for the global AI revolution right now.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with the unmapped digital frontier, then look at Yahoo and human taxonomy, the invention of the internet portal, eBay's decentralized trust, and finally, we'll connect it all in the AI flywheel continuum. Let's get right to it.
Part 1. The Unmapped Digital Frontier and the 1994 Curation Crisis.
So picture this. It's late 1994. The World Wide Web is this rapidly expanding digital continent, but it is completely paralyzed by a profound structural crisis. The early web was, to put it mildly, a total digital wasteland. Zero search engines, zero automated indexes, no verified corporate infrastructure whatsoever, just a chaotic dump of web servers and hobbyist homepages. If you wanted to find something, you literally had to manually type in the exact URL or just blindly hope you stumbled across a hyperlink. Eventually, we'd get that unified, curated matrix that changed everything, but getting out of that unmapped chaos, that was the defining challenge of the entire era.
Here's the absolute bottom line. This dual bottleneck paralyzed the entire user experience. Imagine logging onto a network where you physically couldn't find information because there was no map. And worse, you definitely couldn't execute a financial transaction with unvouched strangers across open space. Navigation and trust were entirely broken. Something massive had to change if the internet was going to be anything more than just a neat academic novelty.
Moving right along to Section 2, Yahoo and human taxonomy, organizing the web. Our first real solution for navigation didn't come from some multinational tech conglomerate. No way. It came from Stanford PhD students Jerry Yang and David Philo, operating out of a literal unventilated trailer on campus. They looked at the traditional, stationary way we organize knowledge, like the Dewey Decimal System used in libraries, and realized that just wasn't going to cut it for the internet. They recognized early machine algorithms were blunt and outputted total garbage. So instead, they created a high-velocity, human-curated taxonomy, hand-coding a nested HTML category tree to map the digital horizon in real time. This brilliantly illustrates their breakthrough. The Yahoo ontological tree matrix completely rejected automated mathematical spiders. Instead, they built this massive nested tree, starting from a root directory, branching into broad parent domains like computers, and drilling down into granular child folders like hardware. And to maintain it, they actually paid legions of human beings, young grads they called surfers, who sat at monitors 14 hours a day, manually categorizing the web, checking dead links, and writing descriptions. It was humans, not machines, that built the first usable map of cyberspace. Section 3, Inventing the Internet Portal, Monetizing the Global Front Door. Having a map is cool, sure, but turning it into a global empire, that's another story entirely. By late 1995, Yahoo grabbed Sequoia Capital funding and pulled off a strategic pivot that literally invented the internet portal. They realized they were essentially the mandatory front door to the online universe. To monopolize that attention, they added what they called sticky user services, things like Yahoo Mail, Finance, and News, designed specifically to trap users in their ecosystem so they never had to leave. And the funding? It was powered entirely by premium banner ads, charging Fortune 500 brands and tracking user impressions with absolute mathematical precision using a CPM model. And man, the result was exponential. By 1999, right at the peak of the dot-com boom, Yahoo hit a historic corporate valuation of over $100 billion. $100 billion. They proved to the entire financial world that human attention was the ultimate highest-yielding commodity out there. If you controlled the portal, you taxed the entire digital pipeline. All right, Section 4, eBay and engineering decentralized trust, the peer-to-peer matrix.
So while Yahoo was successfully centralizing information at Stanford, a radically different experiment was happening down in Campbell, California. Over Labor Day weekend in 1995, a software engineer named Pierre Omidyar hand-coded a Perl script that totally bypassed traditional retail warehouses. He thought the old system of fixed pricing and controlled centralization was elitist. He envisioned a decentralized peer-to-peer matrix driven entirely by dynamic, fluid bidding on attic and garage stock.
He basically wanted to see if an open market could organize itself purely through the cooperation of everyday people.
You're gonna love this. The very first item Omidyar listed to test his script was a broken laser pointer. He priced it at $0. But within a week, a bidding war pushed it up to $14.83. Stunned, Omidyar actually emailed the buyer like, "Hey, you know this is broken, right?" The buyer's historic reply, "I am a collector of broken laser pointers." That single sentence proved a massive economic truth. The internet could aggregate hyper-niche demand across thousands of miles. It literally turned household junk into a liquid commodity asset.
The platform grew explosively and eventually rebranded as eBay. But then, they hit a terrifying sociological wall. Think about it. How do you get a buyer in New York to mail a physical paper check to a completely anonymous stranger in Texas without getting scammed? Traditional commerce was all face-to-face. These digital shadows were ripe for fraud and paranoia. If eBay couldn't solve this trust issue, the whole peer-to-peer economy was going to collapse before it even really started.
Enter Omidyar's absolute masterstroke in February 1996, the feedback forum. It was just beautifully simple. After a transaction, both the buyer and seller entered a mutual rating +1, 0, or -1, along with a short comment. This created an unerasable digital metric right next to your username. It was instant reputational capital. If you have 5,000 positive points, you had massive market authority. Commit fraud? Your negative feedback wiped you out instantly. It forced the structural self-policing of anonymous communities, allowing a pure software utility to essentially extract a toll on the global circulation of goods without ever owning a single warehouse.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, the AI Flywheel Continuum, from 1994 straight to Phase 7 AI. Now, here's where it all comes together. The structural and psychological highway paved by those twin portals isn't just ancient internet history, it is directly fueling today's AI landscape. The logic is totally unbroken. We start with the 1994 twin portal core of HTML directories and text auction scripts. By the 2000s, that shifted into the search and algorithmic pivot with Google and Amazon. But look at where it inevitably leads, directly into 2026's era of AI cognitive systems powered by layered neural transformers. The tools evolved from basic scripts to massive cloud fabric, sure, but the underlying architecture of how we navigate and trust digital space, it's the exact same continuum. The parallels here are absolutely mind-blowing. Just as human surfers at Yahoo manually organized the web's early data, today's AI giants like OpenAI and Anthropic are facing a flood of synthetic data. Their solution? RLHF. Reinforcement learning from human feedback. They're literally using human curation to train machine intelligence, exactly like Yahoo did in '94. And looking at trust, eBay's feedback forum laid the foundation for peer-to-peer exchange. Today, venture capitalists in Cerebral Valley are funding agent-to-agent autonomous P2P trust protocols. They are designing AI agents that negotiate and settle commerce for us, relying entirely on automated reputation metrics that are direct descendants of Omidyar's 96 Perl scripts.
Jerry Yang, David Philo, and Pierre Omidyar prove that the true wealth of the future belongs to those who treat the internet as an active, self-organizing social fabric. As we sit here today watching independent machine minds rewrite human existence, negotiating commerce, and curating our knowledge from the digital edge, we have to ask ourselves a profound question. Are we all still just navigating the structural chassis built back in 1994? Or is this machine intelligence finally becoming its own autonomous digital civilization? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the platforms you use every single day because their history just might be telling you exactly where our future is headed.